Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about my Genius Hour project, a deep dive into poetry. What is my project? My Genius Hour project was basically on the research of poetry and some of my favorite poets. I really took this opportunity to do something that I love and to do something that I've been putting off for quite a bit of time now. Um, Over the 5 weeks, I basically chose a few poets which I've seen around and which I've always kind of really wanted to look into. And for an hour each week, I'd sit down, research them. I even managed to memorize an entire poem by one of my poets. And to finish it all off, I decided that I would collect all of my letters, which I have sent or received, and I would take a quote or two from each letter and kind of create my own poem. I actually really enjoyed doing this. It was kind of difficult to organize it and reorganize it, but I managed and I really love the outcome. Why did I choose my project? I decided to take on this research project because ever since I have gotten into poetry and some of my favorite poets, I never really had the opportunity to sit down and fall into this rabbit hole of just research on the internet or in like library books, and I never really truly had that opportunity. So when Ben told about us about this, I thought, why not? So I took my chance, and I'm really happy with all the things that I've learned. I also hope that it would teach me better habits of just sitting down and looking things up when I have questions about something, to just sit down, look it up, research about it, learn about it. And I actually have kind of picked up that habit, even if it's for 5 seconds. If I hear something that interests me, I sit down, at least get like the main point of view or like the main topics of it. And so I know what I'm talking about and I know what to think when I am thinking about it. And then if I have time later, I'll sit down and go a little bit more in depth. So the main three poets that I researched were actually all best friends. They were Lord Byron, Percy Shelley, and John Keats. Now, Lord Byron turned out to be my favorite. He was iconic. Reading about him was just so fun. Just some of his poetry really just sucked me in, and I just could not get away from it. And now it's always on my mind. It's always in some corner of my mind. And I think he has to be my favorite poet of all time now. Um, his best friend, one of his best friends, Percy Shelley, who was married to Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, is a very important character in English romantic literature and poetry. He's very well known for his poetry. Most people, when they hear the last name Shelley, they know of Mary Shelley and they know of Percy Shelley. They know Mary Shelley for Frankenstein and Percy Shelley for his poetry. Um, and then the third friend was John Keats. I feel like everybody who likes poetry has one of John Keats' quotes either memorized or written down somewhere, or they just know a certain quote of his and just have it in their mind at all times. He is very important when it comes to romantic literature and just overall the whole topic of romantic poetry and all that. Unfortunately, most of his reputation did grow after his death, which makes me really sad because what if he thought throughout his entire life that he did nothing and his friends were doing all of that? Because Lord Byron he's kind of considered the first real celebrity. So I can't imagine how John Keats felt thinking that he's accomplished nothing while his friends are famous. Um, my experience with this project, the Genius Hour project was very interesting. When Ben first told us about it, I was excited but a little scared because I knew how I am. I know how I am with deadlines. Um, I can be I can be very difficult when it comes to things like this because if I'm given this amount of freedom, even if it's something that even if it's something that I'm doing that I love, I still need certain deadlines. And then when it does come down to deadlines, I can still kind of procrastinate. So I was kind of scared that I would let it slip, but I didn't. I actually fell in love a lot with what I learned, and I am very, very happy with the habits that it taught me and some of the things I learned, and I have no regrets about any of it. And I think it was really a great opportunity and a great idea, and I really hope we do it again because it kind of made English class easier for me to focus on as well because I knew that in English class we'd focus on reading, and then I'd get to go home and do my own thing when it came to that class instead of sort of extending the class into like my home life and making it more of a burden. I actually ended up enjoying English class a lot more than I usually do, which is very surprising because I love English. Um, and that's it. Thank you for watching. I'd very much appreciate if you guys checked out my poem. Um, and check out everybody else's Genius Hour projects because some people worked so hard on theirs and they did such a great job. And thank you.